You see all those children in the north, in their millions. They are over 20 millions. Forget that 14 million. They are over 20 million. And these guys are going to be having children. And it is the same way and method that will be followed. And in the next 20 years, if you think you are saving the South, think again. Because these people will infiltrate the South. And we are all going to go down. So all this is just a decoy. Unfortunately, that feudalistic idea that happened in the north then, that made the British to hand over Nigeria to the north, is exactly what the northerners have done to the southerners, using some of our leaders that were supposed to protect the interest of the South. And that was what happened in that 1999 Constitution. They took it there and then they use it to submerge the South. And unfortunately, today, as I speak to you, all the Southern leaders are just eating crumbs from what that 1999 Constitution gave them. They don't care about you and I. And if you think about the numbers of years that Nigeria has been in the hands of the Hausa Fulani, the Northerners, close to 50 years. And the number one thing that can ever change a community, a state, a country, the world, is education. Once you've got that education, there are so many things that can come from it. And we all know that education is one of the things that the Northerners actually pushed back on, even during the colonial era. So the Northern leaders don't care about their people. They care about their own pockets. And all these hungry people can then come to them every morning to take kunu or to take rice in a bowl of plates. And they are happy with it. They are happy with it. And that is why they never fight for education. Ask me what happened about the schools that Jonathan built in the north. Buhari took over. Why didn't he carry on with it? If the Northerners want to be educated, it will take a Southerner to go and educate the Northerners. But will they accept a Southerner, particularly a Christian, to come and build schools in the north in order to educate them? No, it's not going to happen. And if you are expecting a Northerner to be the one to educate the North, for them to catch up with the South, then you have to think again. Because the Northerners had close to 50 years in the seat of power, with all the money, through that constitution, yet they could not develop the North. The numbers of children in the north, the Almajiri in the north, they are in their millions. If they are telling you 14,000, 18,000 out of school children in the northern part, no. They are more than that. There are over 25 million of people, of children in that northern part of Nigeria who are just roaming the streets with no future, and their leaders don't care about them. In 1958, Sardauna of Sokoto, this man here, I will not stop saying it, he's one of my genius. If you remember, Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Northern Premier at that time, he had two legacies. One of them was the unification of all tribes in northern Nigeria. The second one was the modernization of northern Nigeria. Because at that time, northern Nigeria was backward in terms of infrastructures, building, and everything. But this man here modernized everything. And a lot of people benefited from his industrial revolution. We all remember the textile. We all remember the groundnuts that was happening at that time. I will not stop saying it. The same thing Obafemi Awolowo did in the southwest with cocoa, and Okpara in the east. So if at that time these people can do all these things and keep Nigerians busy, money in their pocket, what happened to our modern leaders today that they cannot do any of those? Sir Ahmadu Bello would be so disappointed with many of the northern leaders with their lackluster attitude towards helping the ordinary northerners. And same thing, Obafemi will be so disappointed with the southwestern leaders. And Nnamdi Azikiwe and Okpara will be disappointed with what is happening in the east. And all these things that are happening, they will not stop happening until you and I either one day decide that this needs to stop. If the Igbos come together for one day and decided, we are in democracy, are we not? We are no longer in military, like what happened in 1967. If the Igbos today, in their millions, 2 million, 3 million of them come outside and said, enough is enough, we want our own, we want to secede from Nigeria. Believe you me, it is done. If the Yorubas come about 3-4 million of them and say, today we want to secede, Nigeria will sit down and have a chat. The same thing if Arewa decided that we want to go Araba, and they come out about 3-4 million, the Nigerian security architecture put together does not have the capability to deal with such magnitude of revolution. So they will have no any other thing to do than to accept what is being put on the table. This issue of we don't want this constitution, yes, we know that. But we have been saying it for the past 25 years that this is a rogue constitution. This is a constitution put together by Abdulsalami in order to favor one part of the country. And that has been happening for 25 years. And we keep talking every day. It's not going to happen. For it to happen, if 2 million people today come out in Nigeria and say, this constitution must go, it is done. But how are we going to gather 2 million people? And that is the reason why I am calling on all Nigerians that the way for us to come out of this death trap that we are in is to come out in our numbers. Whether it is the constitution you want to change, whether you want to have Yoruba nation, whether you want to have Biafra, whether you want to have Arewa, whether you want to divide the country to 6, this one singular action will make it happen. But you see, when you keep saying it all the time, it goes through the one ear of our leaders and it comes out through the other because it's not affecting anything. Today, if the Nigerian people come on the street in their millions and said we want subsidy to be back, we want petrol price to go back to where it was before this administration coming, believe you me, it is done. But it depends on the numbers. And that is why I keep saying, when our numbers are right, the leaders, the country, Nigeria will listen to us. but not with these little mega revolutions and protests that we are doing. It's not going to help. So we need to unite and make sure our message get across to these leaders. It doesn't have to be violence, but even the violence that the Nigerian leaders bring into this peaceful protest, the simple reason why it is happening is because your numbers are still not enough. If a soldier that had 5 rounds or 50 rounds of ammunition, if he looks at about 25 people arguing and coming towards him, he will still be confident that I still got 50 rounds. Before they kill me, I will kill 50. Or before they buy me, I will buy 50. But when that same soldier see about 200, 300 people coming towards him, and he knows he only has 50 rounds of ammunition, he will drop that gun and he will run away. So we need to get to that area. We need to get to that to take our country back. It would have been okay for us to be one Nigeria. The northern part of the country has to sit down and tell themselves the truth. They have been wicked to their followers, and their followers continue to follow them blindly. And if we divide or we separate, believe you me, even though the northerners, the ordinary northerners, will still suffer, because I don't see the northern leaders changing. That is their system even before the amalgamation. One person becomes rich, 200 people goes to his house every day and beg for food. That has not changed up till now. That is not the same situation in the south. But unfortunately, we've been put together. And today, gradually, if you look at what is happening, the southern part of Nigeria has also turned to beggars. You are traveling at a bus stop, you see left, right, and center, everybody begging for money. These guys are not northerners. They are southerners. This is not the case 40 years ago. But today, gradually, because of the people in government, they have turned the Nigerian system to that feudalistic system of begging for food, begging for this. And that is why you see today, every problem that happens in Nigeria, the first thing that comes to their head is to go and give them rice or give them indomie or one thing. We are not beggars. Nigerians are not beggars. All you need to do is to go and secure those people that are in IDP camp. They have a place before now. And these are the food basket of Nigeria. These guys produce food for Nigeria as a whole. Secure our country the way it has been before independence, or just after independence, before the military came in that destroyed everything. Because what happened with the military, for those of you who does not think before asking military to come back, I'll tell you. So you have people who have been learning from the British for many, many years, which was what people like Obafemi, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Tafawa Balewa, and Sardauna, these were things that they learned from these white people. The white people have compassion. The British have compassion for the Nigerian people. That's why when they build rail, they build for Nigerians. When they build road for themselves to park our stuff, they still build road for Nigerians. When they build every single thing the British did, is for the benefit of all Nigerians. But today we have leaders who do not care about the Nigerian people. They keep finding alternatives for themselves, rather than looking for ways for the Nigerian people. After all these people have learned for so many years and they started putting it into practice, then the military came in. Yes, there was an issue. There was a lot of political issue at that time. But the army can come in and then go back. and let these people continue. But all that learning that all these people learned was just crushed. And armies that were trained, armies that were trained to defend our territory and in case of war, in case of things, which was what they were doing at that time. If there's war in one small African country, they go there and help. If there's war, that was what they were trained for. All of a sudden, these people now became people that are now ruling Nigeria. And you are wondering why Nigeria is where it is. So all that, those years of army rule destroyed our democracy. So it's unfortunate. All the good things we are supposed to learn or get, just like as the British put their training into these people could not find people to train because they were taken out of government for 9 or how many years? 11 years of Gowan. All that knowledge is gone. And that is why we are where we are. And that constitution that was brought in by Abdul Salam with all the kona and abracadabra that was in that constitution cannot make Nigeria to go forward because it was a one-sided constitution. And those people that are supposed to have advantage of that one-sided constitution, the northerners, it's only the elites that are enjoying the benefit of that constitution. It never trickles down to the ordinary northerner. And this is what we need to fight. I have no problem with anybody coming in and doing the right thing, educating the North, taking them out of the streets. But the problem is, this can only be done by a Southerner. And if that Southerner comes in and spends 8 years, and he goes, and a Northerner comes in, and he decides to go back to their feudalistic system, tell me, what have we achieved? This happened with Jonathan. When Buhari comes in, you would have thought that Buhari will make the North catch up with the South. But instead, he impoverished them the more. They weaponized this poverty. But what I'm telling you today, Nigerians, is that you see all those children in the North, in their millions. They are over 20 millions. Forget that 14 million. They are over 20 million. And these guys are going to be having children. And it is the same way and method that will be followed. And in the next 20 years, if you think you are saving the South, think again. Because these people will infiltrate the South. And we are all going to go down. So before we get to that level, whether it's the constitution we want to take out, whether it is separation of the country, whether it is the bad governance that we need to take down, whether it's whatever that we need to do, it's not going to happen just by saying it. We need action. Action in the sense that we need a lot of people to join this movement. And let's see where we can take that revolt to in order to take our lives back. And if it is going to be through that constitution of election every 4 years, then let's come out. I'm always disappointed by the numbers of people that come out to vote. On voting day, everybody sits at home, enjoying themselves, and you expect Nigeria to change. You don't want to sow, but you want to reap. Until we come together and understand that we have to sow for us to reap. And the Nigeria that we need for ourselves and our children and unborn children starts with you. You have to be involved. So I call upon you today, whatever you have been doing, just make sure that you start thinking about how we can make Nigeria work. Sometimes it's boring talking about Nigeria, but believe you me, if we do the right thing, you will understand that it is worth the hassle. So join this team today and let's do something in order to get Nigeria back to where it needs to be. If you are not going to do much, just support those that are doing things by subscribing to this channel, by pressing the notification bell, by sharing this channel. You are already playing a part. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on my next video.